Carryall Township. I'm going back there when I find those tombstones. Now this is a rumor I heard. Maybe Hank Donnell might know something about it, so that's why I told it to you. Maybe you can ask him. It's in section 4.
Oh my God, and some other people come making.
Are you familiar?
Each Monday there'll be a different section of Paulding that we'll cover, but we sure want all of you to come as many times as you can. And next time will be Crane and Emerald Township, and that's very sparse, you know. We don't have any I think we only have Cecil, and the Junction in Crane, no, that's in Emerald. So we don't have too much there, so please come and join in on that too. While we start doing this, I went through a bunch of material that we had upstairs on Antwerp, and I think in order to get some of the history, the actual history of Antwerp, we ought to read through some of this right now. First of all, I want to say that Antwerp has a population in our 1990 census of 1,677 people. They lost from the 1980 census. There was 1,780 people at that time. So we must realize it's been quite a conversation over whether this last census was actually right. So, but it does state 1,677. And we think of Carryall Township. That has a population of 3,039 in the 1990 census. There was a paper written by Ollie Zediker, and it doesn't have a date as to when this was compiled, but she has some interesting things to say here about Antwerp. And I thought I would go through this first. That Antwerp, Ohio was surveyed in 1841, but was not incorporated until 1864. It was once covered by water, which was known as Lake Maumee, that extended from the Ridge Road at Hicksville to the Ridge Road in Van Wert County, known as the Lincoln Highway. Because of the fault of the Earth's crust, the St. Joe River and the St. Mary's, which flowed in a westerly direction, merged at Fort Wayne, forming the Maumee River that flows in a northeasterly direction from Lake Erie, thus causing Lake Maumee, which was in Antwerp. This was to be drained, and that was making the area in the northwest Ohio. It was drained, making the area of northwestern Ohio a dense forest in a fertile soil, and eventually inhabited by the Ottawas, the Chippewas, the Miami, the Potawatomis, and other Indian groups. During the latter part of the 17th century, the French, English, and American colonists completed with each other to arrest this territory from the Indians. Several graves have been found on the Henry Snook farm north of Antwerp, revealing buttons and swords of the French soldiers. This territory was finally conquered by General Anthony Wayne in the Battle of Fallen Timbers near the city of Maumee on August the 20th, 1794. He then constructed forts at Defiance, Fort Wayne, and Fort Wayne. General Wayne's trail from Miami to Fort Wayne passed through Antwerp, which is now known as River Street and Route 24. The first settlers of Carryall Township was David Applegate, who settled on the north side of Maumee River in 1827. The following years brought the following: Fraser Campbell, William Banks, R.B. Spear, Thomas Runyon, Robert Murphy, Zedekiah Graves, Denison Hyde, Sam Holton, A.J. Smith, Wilson Snook, William Snook, Jesse Pocock, and Joseph Cole. I have one point that I question on what was written here. I think there might have been typographical error where she said Denison Hyde. I've read in later places Hughes, so I believe that name should have been Hughes there. Carryall Township was organized in 1829, containing 36 square miles. It derived its name from a large rock in the Maumee River just west of the village. The rock resembles a French vehicle, which was called a carryall. All of Paulding and Defiance until 1839 was under the jurisdiction of Williams County. The first township elected was held in 1830 in a log cabin near the present home of Henry Shook Jr. There were only 12 votes cast. The officers elected were Robert Murphy as clerk, Richard Banks, Hugh Runyon, and William Hodge as trustees. I thought that was some of the interesting points about Antwerp to get us started. And we could then go from that point to go back to when you were children in Antwerp and things that you remember that your parents, grandparents might have told you. And I think before we start talking, we want to have recorded here who is doing this. So we'll start out. You want to give your name first?
Mine?
Your name.
Henry J. Donnell.
All right. And you are from?
What?
You're from Antwerp. And
Antwerp proper, Carryall Township.
all right.
I'm Dorothy Chester, and I live in Paulding, but I'm interested in every township in the county. And my husband was from he was born in Crane Township. And my mother-in-law was born in Crane Township, too, in 1879.
Well, that you'll have some memories of things that they've told you too. George?
I'm George James. I live southwest of Antwerp. I'm sort of in between Crane and Antwerp, but I'm pretty well acquainted in both villages.
All right. And then we have Mr. Price.
Well, from Paulding Township, but I'm interested in the history of, to preserve the history of the county, of people who lived part of that history.
Mr. Donnell, can you tell us what you reminisce about Antwerp?
I just don't really know where you'd like to start. I can go back to about 1904, and I have a lot of things. We lived on what is known as Erie Street now. The canal was still not in operation, but there was a bridge across the canal that filled with water every now and then. And one thing I remember personally is on something called Payne Pike. It became Payne Pike, and on Erie Street, actually, they call it Smoky Road. The reason they called it Smoky Road, they were slab houses because of the sawmills and barrel factories, stave factories, and handle factories built along the canal. Some of them were still standing, some still in operation as I remember. But these slab houses were made out of rough lumber, so straight up and slits across the tracks, and they were finished, and there was an entire row from Buffalo Street clear out to very near to Corporation on the west side. They'd get up in the morning, all of them built for slab wood. It's all for the same type, built the same way. An A-frame and then a lean-to in the back of it for the dining room and kitchen part was, and the chimney went up, of course, on the one side, and they'd all get up in the morning, start their fires, and there'd be a roll of smoke coming out of all those houses. And those houses were still standing, and I saw most of them torn down. There was only one frame house, and one log house. The log house stayed there about 1911 or 12. The Hoover family lived there. And Marlin family lived in the last house where the store is today, filling spaces and so forth. And that's one of the slab houses, remodeled and refinished, that's still standing. And on the other side of the canal, on the north side, there was hotel rooms, hotel buildings still standing, and people living in them. And I don't know how much more you'd like to have me go into.
Everything you can tell.
Well, how about me coming back a little bit?
All right, that's fine.
Let somebody else take it on and I'll take a little bit. I get tired talking.
Yeah, all right. Can any of you add more to the early days of Antwerp that you can remember hearing about?
Me?
Anybody?
Well, we've had that work then.
All right.
I'd like to as much as I can. The houses were along Canal Street, and I can recall when we had in Antwerp 7 saloons, 7 churches. We had 6 blacksmith shops. I can tell you where they were at. We had a buggy factory. We had an iron factory. And we plus these 6 blacksmith shops. We had 5 barber shops with 2 or 3 men working in each barber shop. We had 7 grocery stores. A harness shop where they made a harness. Had a big horse stand out in front, horse-sized statue or model of a horse. Had a harness on most of the time, or a collar or something, whatever they were pushed at that particular time. We had 3 elevators, a light plant, and, well, I get stymied every now and then.
All right, that's all right. I read in one of the books that there was they call it Antwerp furnace.
I'll get to that. That was part of the canal.
That was part of the canal?
That, there was a furnace, the canal on the north side of the street, down from, I don't know what part, on the east side of the canal street, east end of Canal Street. There was a long row of, you'd call them hotels, but they assembled that style only. They were just frame houses, and they were still standing, and they were sleeping quarters in for the people who worked on the canal. And then down a little farther, just before you come to where the Harmon Town Mill used to be, it isn't there anymore. There was a canal cut across, went over to the river, where the canal boats would come out and come out of the main stream and dock there and get this, they call it pig iron. I don't know what it was. They blasted it there, and then the canal went all the way, and there was a hotel sitting over on the riverbank where these boats would tie up, and the men working on them and so forth, and other laborers around would stay at this hotel. And Harmon moved it across the railroad track and made a sheep shed out of it. They tried to reserve the thing and get it moved back into park, that is, Temple did, with his effort to restore some of the historical buildings of Antwerp, but they couldn't raise enough money for it. It was still sitting there, and Harmon's eventually tore it down. But it was a nice long building, and it had rooms and all, and people lived in it until Harmon, when they started to remodel 24 back from about 1926, 27, taking it away from the river. By that's when they moved the hotel away from the river, and this first canal was all filled in. And, well, I lived right on the canal for some time. And my dad had the ice business in Antwerp. And they cut ice off the pond, off the canal. There's 2 or 3 ponds built on down in this canal, I think. And they'd put them up in sawdust and pack it, and they'd cut it off the river and haul it into the big ice out. Then in the summertime, it fell my job to drive the wagon from house to house and had a man on the back of it. It'd be a sign in the when the 10 pound, 12 pound, 15 or whatever. Guys remember rinsed off the sawdust, had a little keg of water, rinse it off, and take it in and put it in the ice box.
I think that's quite amazing. When our young people watch this tape, they think when they want some ice cubes, they go to the ice box, the refrigerator we call now, and just it's automatically made for them. But back in the very early days, they had to cut this ice off of the rivers or the ponds and store it. I think it's kind of interesting to know that you put sawdust around the ice, and then that helped to keep it cold, and it was like an insulation, wasn't it?
They put the sawdust around, they put the ice chunks together. That old room, as big as this. That'd be nice, but it's very near. They'd put the ice in there, stack it all up on one another, and they'd have 18 inches to 2 foot of sawdust around it. They'd have sawdust at the bottom. They'd have the sawdust, they wanted not just fresh sawdust, they wanted sort of on the deteriorated side, so it hung together. And that wetted down to it. And that would keep the ice in good shape also. In fact, we've had some years when they'd get ice good, they'd have enough left, a little left over for the following year. They would sell all of it. But 1 year or 2 years right in a row, we didn't get any ice. Dad put up ice business. Because they had to go full wind artificial ice that was young in those days.
Yeah.
But the meat markets would go in and they had large coolers, and they had sawdust insulation and so forth over the top and on the sides, and then fill up this cooler there with ice, and it lasted a long time. That's the only way they had to keep their meat cool. And they, of course, they hung on a lot of them out in the air, let get a little age on them those days.
No, that's supposed to make the meat better, wasn't it, now at age?
That's right.
That's right. What about Gay's Bucket Factory? Ever hearing anything about Gay's Bucket Factory, which was on the south side of the canal?
Well, that bucket factory was along with the barrel factories, and there were several of them along on the south side. There was the factories were just more or less with open sheds. At that time, they wasn't closed in, but they made hooks for barrels. They made oak barrels. They made staves. They made handles out of the hickory because that part of the country was open. And I know they used to float trees down the Maumee River to Defiance and beyond. There was a lot of oak in that country, that part of the country anyway. I don't know too much about grain and so forth. But that's one thing when these factories went out and the ground was cut over. That is why people moved into this part of the country, or some of them. My father and mother came here in 1897 because they could buy cheap ground. But the ground was full of stumps and roots and so forth. And I can recall when plowing in the field with a team of horses, and they had wooden pegs. They drove into their plow that was cutting, what do you call it, mow board, cutting board. Mow board, and that hit a log or a stump or a root, it'd break that peg off and it'd fly up and had them in their pocket. They'd fill out another and drive it in, get back out of the road, do away with it or whatever they could, then plow some more. And well, the north side of the Carryall Township. I might be getting away too far. I said we had 7 blacksmith shops, and one thing I left out, we had 2 opera houses.
2 opera.
2 opera houses. And then one was down by where the bowling alley is. It was, they called them opera houses. That's where they'd have, through the winter time and so forth, they'd have stage shows or comic or whatever you call them in those days come in and make their plays, say maybe 2 or 3 days or maybe a week. They'd have their speeches and revival meetings sometimes. That was where one of them was. And the other one was right where the Masonic Temple is today. That was the brick building, 2-story. They had their plates and so forth in there. And then, by the way, that was the first garage. They let it go to pot, the opera house and so forth. They let it go to pot. That was where our first garage, public garage, was. Now we knocked the front end out of it. For enough room for a non-mobile to get in. They worked on it in there. Now, Rome Murphy and George Howie and Warren Sester had the first garages that was now. That public garage. And then the Masonic Temple bought it, or they took it, and Warren Sester went down where his place was between, well, the building still sits, or and built that building, or he didn't build a building, he just put a roof on the floor down because he didn't between 2 buildings. And his garage had been there, and that was built in 1912. His first garage is in that.
Well, Henry,
Yes.
you're talking about opera houses. Wasn't there an opera house above the basement garden in that 3-story building?
No.
Well, I went to when I was a kid, the neighbor boy was a senior in Antwerp, and he took me to a class play.
Well, what they had was a class play up there. That used to be the Redlands Hall. And they used to have plays up there. They had a nice big hall. And they'd have plays. And they had stage. And it was on the 3rd floor.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, they had no gym or anything. The first basketball was played in Antwerp. Was played in a little building room hardly big enough, big as this is. It burnt down now, was in where J.D. Johnson's sheriff factory. The first basketball was along about 1910. Left in there, Chaplain named House was the best little high school at that time.
I'm glad you got me straightened out there, because I always thought that was an opera house.
That was the Redlands Lodge. We had one time, I can think just what it is right now. We had the Masonic Lodge, we had the Outlaw, we had the Woodman, we had the Redmond,
KFB, was there?
and KFB. We had five different lodges, or 6, with all of them auxiliary. The Rebecca's and the Pocahontas and all these lodges that spoke of that the ladies was it. Well, you can let somebody else go for a while if you want. I'll come back when I get my wind up.
He's the one, I guess the only one from Antwerp, or that territory. I have read, different things and researching and
I can give you some more, but I got to get a little pumped,
Yeah, all right, well, let's get a little in there. And I was looking here at this paper that was written by Ollie Zediker, and I'll tell you a little bit that she has written in here. Or he, I'm not sure whether Ollie, the man.
Ollie Zediker was a school teacher, and I just as soon as you're trying to remind me of things not to read it, because I don't.
Oh, all right.
I agree with certain things in there.
Yeah, okay.
But Ollie Zediker is about 30 years younger than I am.
Uh-huh.
And Ollie
Okay.
Zediker was raised along the river, but he was raised down Crane Township, beyond Cecil there.
Well, George had something to bring up, and maybe he can talk about the coins that you found in your house, and what you thought about the graves that are,
What?
you want to check out. George Price wants to talk about the coins he found in the wall of his house that were, why don't you tell us, George?
Well, the only thing is, when I remodeled my house in '46, I found, it had that hair plaster they used to use on the wall. My house at one time was a log house. Part of it, one part of the house was a log house that was in the woods, and then moved up next to 111, and another house joined together. When I remodeled it, I was hauling away the old plaster, and I found some coins, about 12 to 15 coins, and there was from, a lot of them was token coins from Montreal, and they was all dated about 1830 some up to 1850 some, and being they were French, most of them was from Montreal. I come to believe that there was put in the house when people that were taken, the French were sent down here from Quebec to take out the ship timber, the white ash, and that was part of their money they put in the house, and they either abandoned those coins. Most of them are token coins. And I always thought that, and then what I was talking about, I heard a rumor, but it can't confirm it. There's some of those French woods cutters died from malaria in Carryall Township, and they're buried in a cemetery in Section 4. And I thought if the weather gets bad, they said there's some tombstones there where their graves are marked to go walk into that and try to confirm whether there's anything to that, where they're buried at. There was a woodcutter set in there.
Well, Section 4,
Yeah, where is section 4?
I'm just looking here on
It
this
would be the
map
fourth-
here. It
fourth
would
one
be
It's
from-
just
right
south
up here at the top.
Hmm?
It's right up here at the top of Carryall Township.
On what road, what direction? Map.
It's on the
It's
east
on-
side of 49.
All right, here's 49 goes through right here. And this section here is 4. So it would be right along the north branch of the river.
Off that French named river.
This river comes right in through here.
Is the river?
No, that's Murray Grand Creek.
Yeah, it's the
River,
north branch where that
River.
cemetery.
All it says on here is the north branch, and then it hooks up with the south branch and goes on
All right, that is, I know where the. I
into
know
the
where he's
Maria and
talking about.
Delaware.
And I know where the cemetery is,
Mhm.
and they may well be. We go up there, used to go up there every year and decorate the graves because there are quite a few Civil War veterans buried out there, some going men on post-war and so forth. And there are one or two revolutionary soldiers buried out there. Now, there may be some French buried out there. It's very small, and it's back off the road.
It's in the woods, is that right?
It's a little woods around it, not a big woods. And it's been kept up. Carryall Township trustees kept up the estate.
This doesn't have to do with that work, but when you were trying to find the sections, the sections are numbered. You start with number 1 in the northeastern part of the township.
Right.
And you go 6 miles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you turn around and come back, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Then you turn and go. That means that number 1 is always over in the northeast corner. Number 6 is over in the northwest corner. Number 36 is over in the southeast corner, and number 30 is over in the west.
I know my
And-
wife in 20, section 26, but I didn't know where Paulding was.
And if you're talking of sections, you're talking about Township 1, range, that starts over in the northwest part, and it would be range 1. Benton Township would be range 1. Harrison Township would be 2, and Carryall would be 3. That would be town. Then the range goes east, 1, 2, 3, 4. So Benton would be Township 1, range 1. And if you once got that in your mind, you can pick out if it was where, in order to, if you go out here to the Apostolic Church on 127, that's the corner of Blue Creek Township and Paulding Township, Jackson, and Laddie. And you can pick out your township. Somebody tells you what it is, you can soon pick it out once you learn how to.
Well, that's interesting. If we can see here on this map that I have just the sections, but it didn't tell us.
No. Well, the sections then starts, that would be, like I said, you'd start 6, 1, 2, 3, they go 6 miles. With the exception of Old Blaze and Brown, Paulding Township has, that's the way it is.
Well,
Paulding County, I didn't mean
Paulding
County.
County, yes.
Paulding County.
Well, we can see on this little map here that Emerald didn't get completely all 36 squares. And then Old Blaze is just sort of divided.
Old Blaze over in there, yeah.
I think Defiance County got part of Old Blaze, or
that is what I was going to ask about. How about, it didn't, all Blaze didn't square their corner out of it. So it isn't exactly mileage in Paulding County that they laid it out to be.
no. It starts out, instead of having, like this whole section here, this should have been 1, 12, and 13. So it went from 1 to 13 sections weren't in here anymore. Defiance got those.
That many sections. A section's a mile square.
Well, I guess there is number 13 that came out of Emerald Township. They didn't do this right.
Well, it's much better than Indiana.
Well, that could be. But then this section up in here, that should have been Auglaize Township, Defiance has it. That was divided.
Auglaize Township doesn't have as many acres in it
No.
as the other 16, and what we have, 16 townships?
12.
12?
12.
And there's 12 townships in Paulding County.
Originally.
It might have like 20 square miles in it, possibly. Are each of the squares a mile? Or the sections a mile?
The section is a mile.
A mile, so.
Yes,
so
640
see-
acres.
Yeah, So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20,
Originally,
21,
Williams
22.
County.
There's
That's
22.
Paulding.
So probably 22 square miles.
Well, we'll go on now.
All right.
I talked about the factories and various sundry other things, and when these factories went out of Antwerp, you mentioned that it was 16 or 1700. 1701. That letter there, 1700 people.
Yeah, 1780. That's in 1980.
Oh,
Might have been even more people.
1980.
Yeah, see, that's the only what I have census for
Oh,
that.
that's
If you
right.
go way back.
1980. I talked to that. 1980, 1890 is it?
Well, I have the census only for 1980 and 1990. But if you go back to 1880, and there were more people living there than what we
Yes,
just
there was
here now.
1880. He was along in there somewhere. The factories went out of Antwerp. There's no place for them to work. The only work there was farm work, cutting logs, cutting wood, and such things as that. Fort Wayne wasn't prosperous yet, hadn't become what do you call it,
Wasn't the industrial
it
city it is
wasn't an
now.
industrial city, that's
No.
the word I was looking for, industrial.
Uh-huh.
No, it wasn't, because, anyway, the people had a rough time getting along. They used to say hard times, because the only work available was farm work and cutting wood, and logging was about gone because the logs had been taken out. There's farming to do. And the prevailing wage was $1, not even $1 a day, not $1 an hour, $1 a day. And the farmers, I think George can bear me out on this, both Georges. His dad used to arm, they used to pay a single man $25, $30 a month through the summer months. That is board, room, and horse feed. He got his horse feed because most young men had a horse buggy in those days, and they boarded them and roomed them. And through about 9 months of the year, and the rest of the year, if they wanted to stay there and do chores and so forth, they'd board them. And the farm people, that is, they had houses and so forth, why they paid the farmer, family men, $25, $30. They give him a garden spot, they give him a hog to raise, they let him have a cow, and he worked the 9 months and did chores and took care of it. And come the 1st of March, it was moving time. There were a lot of tenant farmers, and you see the farmers hitching up their horses, and back of it, maybe a cow or two, and their household gets loaded on one wagon, there'd be 2 wagons going down the road, changing farms. And you'd have chickens and maybe hogs, goats piled on the wagon, and move in a new house. And the other guy that's leaving his 40 or 60 acres that he's rented would move down to the other house and just change the places. That was the first year moving then. And well, getting a little ahead of my story. Antwerp became fortunate. There's a chap come along there by the name of Harmon, old Nick Harmon, and started a tile factory. And he put up 3 or 4 pretty good sized skills. And he hired people through, well, from the time it thawed out in the spring till it froze up solid in the fall. And then he had a few kilns of tile to burn. And his top wages was $1.10 for 10 hours work. His top men, his foreman and so forth, got $1 and a dime, and his regular laborers got $1. That's today. And that was the wages that they had at that particular time. And they worked for it. They worked hard. They worked 10 hours. And there was nothing else to do. And that was the going place at that time. Now, as far as the settlement, speaking of settlements out there, the people, Carryall Township, settled along the river to start with. Then the canal came along, they moved in a little farther, but people that settled Carryall Township, there's been some of them in there, the Armstrongs on the north side of the river, the Armstrongs, the Marshes, the Snopes, the Zubers, the Reeves, he went in a little farther. Other side of the river was Thistles, and the Banks, all along the river. The farms there are still in some of their names. Old Judge Snook, who was John Snook, was a judge here for a good long time, lawyer here in Paulding, was the first master and the organizer of Masonic Lodge in Antwerp. I can't tell you just what year, but John Snook was one of the individuals that the Woodcocks and the Pococks. The Pococks had a grocery store, the Zigglers, and the Zeder and Son business. The Zubers had 2 or 3 grocery stores in Antwerp. And we had 2 clothing stores. And the farmers across the river was the Murphys, which was Benjamin Murphys, the Zubers, and I said Armstrongs, Reeves, Horns, the Murphys. Well, there are 3 farms that the folk in there, the old man Murphy got and received, and they're still in the Murphy's name. It is named now, the one boy has Putnam. The one across the street was in the Murphy's name, or across the river, call it street if you want.
Was that this Dr. Murphy that used to be in Antwerp years
That
ago?
was a different Murphy.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, while you're talking about doctors, that brings up another subject. At one time, I think there was Dr. Murphy, Dr. Deemer, and he was a farmer across the side of the street. They came in from Sandusky, Ohio. Deemer, Murphy, Deemer, Hackthorne, Brad, McKay. We had 5 doctors in that work. And I know they all had horse and buggy and they picked their calls. That's I'm going back to early 1900s, and we had 2 dentists. Cole, what's mentioned in there, Cole, and the merchant. I believe I said we had, or did I? I mentioned the harness shop, but I don't believe I mentioned that we had 3 shoe covers, making a livelihood of cobbling shoes.
Well, you can see by all that you told us with all those doctors and all the grocery stores and all the harness shops, that there had to be a lot of people living there at that time. Because if they weren't, they couldn't have supported all of those things.
The people about affording there, they didn't need much of those days. You see, people didn't have much to spend, and the farmers and even the people in town, living in town, had a cow, thought they had chickens. In fact, everybody had, outside your merchants and your doctors, had a few chickens, and they had a cow, and maybe, I know, a pig or 2, and they all had horses. They all had a manure pile around their barn. It wasn't like the French. We didn't, the French, you know, value the man of the size of his manure pile, but pretty good size. Well, he's a wealthy man, but it wasn't why he wasn't so wealthy. But they all had barns and horses and practically all. They used them. And what I was going to say, the farmers would churn their own butter, get other eggs, and that was their cash money, their eggs and butter. Maybe they'd raise a little, some apples and so forth, but I've seen many of them bring their eggs to town, horse and buggy, and take their eggs out, take them in, sell them, they'd count them out, and they'd get their groceries, and maybe had a little money left. Buy the kids some candy. The candy come in big sticks or long sticks, glass jars, had peppermint, horehound, licorice. Get a stick about 9, 10 inches long for a penny. And when they paid, in fact, everybody had a grocery bill that lived in town. And when they pay it up, boy, the grocer would give the chap that paid his bill a cigar, or maybe if he had a kid or 2 with him, he'd give him a little candy. And then that was the habit of those times. Everybody would work on a grocery bill, because even the farmers, a good many of them, I can really recall. In fact, I worked in a big shop. Another thing I didn't mention in this was that always you had a big shop in Antwerp up until about, I'd say, around 40, maybe not that.
When he's talking of the groceries, look at what you remember the kerosene, when they buy kerosene, if they didn't have the little cap on the top, you put a gumdrop on it. Back years ago, that's how you would.
Use a potato.
The gumdrop or a potato?
Pardon? Yeah,
Potato.
it's a gumdrop on the,
They put it.
or a potato,
Yeah,
a small potato would be used to seal that top, you know, where.
One thing Mr. Donnell hasn't told you is about his service in the Army.
What's that?
Huh?
What'd you say?
How about your service in the Army?
My service in the Army? Well, no, I won't get into that just yet. I want to do a little more on that.
When did the furniture factory burn over there? Do you recall?
The furniture factory burnt in 19
I remember it, but,
The furniture factory J.B. Johnson owned was in the late 40s or early 50s. I was working for Army Company at that time.
Is that what they call the Antwerp Parlor Furniture?
That's right.
Yeah.
It's called the Antwerp Parlor Furniture. I have a date down here of 1939.
that sounds about
But
right.
that's,
It didn't
I
burn down
didn't
at that
like it.
time.
It didn't burn
It
down,
came-
that's what it
I'll tell you
started.
when it came there. It came there along, a fellow by the name of J.B. Johnson out of Toledo. Sent an Antwerp boy down, and he got into an old building that had been used for bowling alley and other things. His name was Ray Stainfield. And they started with a man or two and started building upholstered furniture, which had just came in, and that was in 1920, 21, maybe 22. It could have been right in there. And then it expanded, got bigger, and J.B. Johnson came down himself, and they had two buildings that faced the railroad. Stone Street, not Railroad Street, where the VFW Hall is now. And there was two buildings in there, and then J.B. built on another one. And it was quite a business up until along in the late 40s, the early 40s. And then he went broke, J.B. went broke, and closed out. And I'm getting ahead of the story along about 38, 39. Some people out of Chicago came in and got it. And it ran through the board, that is in 40. And in 1940, I don't know why I went away in 1940, but I came back out of the service in 1947. And I was in Fort Wayne. And it was 48, 49, something along this place burned out. They had a big fire because they came over the radio at a meeting at the Wayne Hotel in Fort Wayne. Over the radio, there's a big fire now.
Was the second-hand store that was operated by Johnson, was that some of the same family?
No. Albert Johnson, no, there was no part of it. This Johnson came out of Toledo,
Now, that stood just about where the,
Where the park garage is
would
now.
that be about the right location?
where what?
About where the insurance company is, would it be about in there?
Oh, Johnson,
The used furniture.
used furniture.
Yeah, the Johnson had a used furniture,
No,
kind of a
that-
jot 'em down.
Well, the only thing I can remember that Johnson's having in that area was the blacksmith shop,
No, this was a used furniture.
used furniture.
Uh-huh.
Huh?
Did Alberto Johnson run that?
Yeah, I don't believe in the blacksmith shop. He had that.
Yeah, that blacksmith shop.
Albert Johnson had a furniture, used furniture store in Hicksville.
Yeah, that's right.
Johnson had one in Antwerp too.
And this Johnson, the only thing I can recall is that there was three blacksmith shops, and Jim Johnson had a poultry house. He bought eggs, Johnson and so forth, such as that. And the other building, right across from where the post office is now, side centers
Well, that would be the right location. I was married in 1930, and I know we bought some,
in the middle.
piece of used furniture.
Well, that's right.
You know, at that time
That
there.
was Jim Johnson.
Mhm. Now, is that the same family?
No, different.
I didn't even remember that.
Different outfit. Now where was we?
I think we got kind of lost a little bit, but we started talking about the furniture.
Oh, the furniture factory burned.
Burned down,
down.
yeah.
I think that was in the 50s.
was in the 50s.
Yeah.
It burned down in the 50s, and then they moved to Paulding. They came to Paulding and was established after it burned out. It was established out here where the old schoolhouse used to be, as you come in on
Dixie?
111.
Old Dixie School.
Yeah. They were in there for quite some time, the same factory. They were people out of Chicago. And all the people are still there. They stayed there when weather came in. But we're going back on the farmers bringing their produce in to the grocery stores. And there's something on I believe it was on television or something last night or before, wanting to know how the lowest they ever got for eggs. So you know, the farmers bring in butter already, so they had very kind of, and this grocery keeper would get a certain lady's farmer's butter, and he'd have customers say, I want this butter, they'd get some butter that is strong, and I want so-and-so's butter, and he'd get it, and then his showcase, buy them off them, and bring them, as I went through it before. Eggs, 8 cents a dozen. Butter, about 10 cents a pound. Bread for a pound loaf was a dime. Coffee, 33 cents a pound. Bologna, 3 pounds for a quarter. Pork shoulder, 3 pounds for a quarter.
Well, that was pretty good prices, wasn't it?
Huh?
That was pretty good prices for them that day.
Wasn't bad.
No.
You could buy a suit of clothes, a good suit of clothes for around $25. You could buy a good pair of shoes for $3, $2.50 to $3. And I know as a kid even at thrashing out across from George, I would buy goatskin gloves for 50 cents. And the same glove today, you go buy them at the elevator or somewhere, you'd have to pay $10.
Oh my, it'd be different. Let's go back to the very early days of when they had to drain this swamp. This was all black swamp.
Well, and now you're going black swamp. I don't know. It should have been in the spring of the year when George Price talked to me about the spring of the year when it was that bad. Because in Anthony Wayne's time, I've had quite a bit of history on that. Anthony Wayne's time, he traveled. Of course, they traveled on the high ground, on the high side of the river most of the time, but they used the river for transportation. And the Maumee River was pretty well cut. It was so crooked, you know. It's 300 mile. It's 100 mile by road, and so 300 mile in the same distance by river. And that is on the Maumee. But the Maumee River was used because people settling in Carryall Township came down the river, and that was their main method of transportation the spring of the year and so forth, because they had no roads. And before they changed 24, made it a scenic highway, the river road followed the river. You come out here and around all the way into Antwerp and all the way to Cecil, but follow the river. And I think I've covered most of the people that settled along the river, the Snooks, the Gordons, the Zuberts, Armstrong, Reeves, and they're still part of the families around there. Snooks are about gone. Their Gordons are going away, but the Murphy family is talking about the Horns and the Deemer family. There's still Deemers there, and Dr. Deemer settled on the farm. He had 2 or 3 boys. He settled on the farm on the north side of the river. Snooks still own some of the ground that they had at that time. They did own quite a vast amount of ground. ground which they've lost through the hard times and regained it again and so forth. And the Dunnermans the same way, the Clarks. But they were the old people that settled in around there. I probably left out some of them which I can't remember. So I think I'll pop off for quite a while there and let some of these other people go at it.
Maybe someone could tell us about the reservoir. I understand that Paulding County had a big war.
I can tell you something about that. Paulding County, according to this story, had not only Paulding County, it's Antwerp. It started right out of Antwerp in Carryall Township. And the waterfall and so forth. They had a reservoir there, a supply reservoir, and it was the largest artificial body of water in the United States at that time. And it was blown, the locks were blown. When they quit using the canal, the farmers wanted it. The people wanted to farm. And they had the militia, it wasn't the National Guard at that time, the state militia down guarding the locks. And a chap by the name of Bill Smith, Simon Edwards, and Worden Perry. They was watching because of the stuff that flowed locks. And those two individuals, they were young men at the time, put dynamite up and blowed the locks. And that left the water, and then they made what they call Tuber's cutoff now to drain that portion of the river. And for a long time, when I was still youngster, in the early teens, came down the reservoir and we'd get turtles in the wet holes and so forth, but they got it all drained, and it was good farming ground for several years, raising potatoes and what have you. And it's good potato ground, and it's tough to work because, boy, that old muck and so forth come up here overall, and you'd be black from your head to your feet, hard to breathe. But I worked it over the hole, and going to corn, what have you. And it was good hunting down there. Good quail, and Hungarian partridge, and a lot of rabbits, because it was quite a bit of it. That canal still wasn't, you could tell where it was because there was water in it. And every spring, in the wet season, it filled up where they had filled in so they could pass into the river and so forth.
What was the reason for them blowing up this reservoir?
Well, they wanted to get rid of the reservoir, actually, because they want the ground to set on. See, it was flooded with water. And there was no good as far as they could see anymore. There was no good to the people there, and that ground was, whoever the best politician got the governor first got that ground for free.
Oh.
Claims that's one reason this country was settled. I was talking to a chap I served with in the service on the telephone. He was from South Payne, around there. And I was telling him I was from over here, and he said, well, there's one thing. He said, my grandfather bought, he had 3 sons, and he bought them all a section of ground for $1 an acre. So I told him I'd tell you that.
What does land around here go for an acre right now, 1993?
Well, what it goes for right now, I wouldn't say, but
Anyone else know?
I have known,
At least 1,500.
1,500.
I have
Good
known
land.
it, I have known it go for 2,200,
Yeah.
2,100.
Uh-huh.
And of course, during the Depression, you could buy it for anything you wanted to pay for it.
$125 an acre.
45 or 50.
Uh-huh.
Well, I had Bob Wheeler push 2 deeds off him when I was in service, and asked him to sign them. 2 farms, Crane Township, 160 75 acres. 75 acres of bottom ground for $45 an acre if I this time. I said, no, I'm gonna receive enough, and that's far enough now. And if I had picked the first crop of beans when I got home,